The Life of Genghis Khan. The Rise of a Legend. The life of Genghis Khan is an epic tale of ambition, conquests, and the unification of diverse tribes that reshaped the course of history. Born as Temujin in 1162, in the rugged steppes of Mongolia, he came from modest beginnings. His early life was marked by hardship and struggle, which would later forge him into one of the most formidable leaders in history. Early years and hardships. Genghis Khan was born into the Borjigin clan, but his family faced great adversity after the death of his father, who was poisoned by a rival tribe. Abandoned by their clan, Temujin's family lived in dire poverty, struggling for survival in a harsh environment. At a young age, he experienced betrayal and loss, which instilled in him a deep resolve to unify the Mongolian tribes and establish a powerful nation. As a youth, he was captured by a rival clan but managed to escape, demonstrating remarkable resilience and resourcefulness. These early life experiences would influence his leadership style and his ambition to rise above the tribal divisions that plagued Mongolia. The rise to power in 1206, after years of forging alliances, battling enemies, and skillfully maneuvering the intricate politics of the Mongolian steppe, Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. His charismatic leadership and brilliant military strategies helped him unite the fractious tribes of Mongolia, creating one of the largest empires in history. Genghis Khan's military campaigns were characterized by speed, ferocity, and innovative tactics. He and his Mongol warriors swept across vast territories, conquering the Jin dynasty in northern China, the Khwarezmian Empire in Persia, and many lands across Central Asia and Eastern Europe. His tactics often included psychological warfare, using fear to intimidate and demoralize his enemies. The legacy of Genghis Khan. Beyond his military conquests, Genghis Khan is credited with fostering trade and communication between the East and West. He established the Silk Road as a vital trade route, promoting cultural and economic exchanges that had lasting impacts on the civilizations involved. Yet, the image of Genghis Khan is also complicated by the brutality of his conquests. His campaigns resulted in the deaths of millions and the destruction of entire cities. The Mongol invasions, while expanding his empire, instigated waves of displacement and suffering. Tragic end and lasting influence. Genghis Khan died in 1227, during a campaign against the Western Shah. His exact burial site remains one of history's greatest mysteries. According to legend, his funeral was marked by secrecy. His body was buried without a marker, and the soldiers who buried him were killed to protect the location. Despite his violent methods, Genghis Khan is remembered for his leadership, vision, and the unification of the Mongolian tribes. His legacy endures, influencing culture, warfare, and politics throughout the ages. He is often seen as a symbol of strength and resilience, representing the complex interplay of destruction and creation. This dramatic life of Genghis Khan serves as a reminder of the potential within an individual to shape the world, for better or worse, leaving behind a legacy that echoes through time. The life of Attila. The curse and glory of the quadrangular tyrant. It all started with humility on the edge of the vast steppe, where stars shimmered above endless fields. Attila was born, the son of the Hunnic leader Munzuk. His life began at the moment when history took a dramatic turn. The Huns, fierce nomads, quickly gained a ruthless reputation, fighting for survival in a merciless world, and Attila was destined to become their supreme leader. The rise to power. In his youth, Attila and his brother Bleda ruled together, but beneath the weight of Attila's ambitions, the chronicle of their dynasty soon began to tremble. In 445 AD, after Bleda's death, Attila became the sole ruler of the Huns. His transition from brother to absolute power was fraught with intrigue and brutality. From that moment, the great conqueror began his path of conquest. The ascendancy of tyranny. Under the banner of the Hunnic Khan, Attila united barbaric tribes and initiated merciless campaigns that shook the foundations of the Roman Empire. In 451 AD, he led his army through Gaul, facing the forces of the Roman Empire and the Visigoths on the fields of the Catalonian plains. This battle became one of the most dramatic in history. Attila, surrounded by his warriors, embodied an evil poised to consume the world. Every strategic move he made was filled with resolve and ferocity, resulting in the deaths of thousands. No one could ignore his blazing gaze and powerful charisma, which drew people to him, causing the Romans to tremble in fear and scowl in hatred. Defeat and resurrection. The invincible Titan, however, fell to the feet of fate. Although he was repelled in Gaul, Attila did not lose hope. He continued his conquests, and in 452 AD, under the pressure of fear, his army invaded Italy. At this moment, a dark shadow fell on Rome. Fearing the brutality of the Huns, the Romans filled the city with panic. However, driven by a fateful will, it was a holy figure, Pope Leo I, who stopped Attila. Their meeting saved the city and possibly protected all of Europe from the devastating consequences of yet another wrath of Attila. The fall of the great leader Attila, despite his power, understood that his empire was fragile. His life, filled with glory and ruthless conquests, was but one form of a dire omen. In 453 AD, during his wedding feast, Attila drank an elixir of merriment, but that very evening became his last. He lost consciousness and, falling into a deep sleep, passed away in his tent. His death shocked the world, and at that very moment, a new era began. The legacy of Attila left behind ravaged lands and countless legends. His devastating conquests weakened Rome, yet his legacy was dual. He became a symbol of barbarism and cruelty to some, and a model of unadulterated greatness to others. Attila, both treacherous and proud, will forever remain in the memories of people as the king of the Huns. His life, filled with contradictions, serves as a vivid example of how the desire for power and genuine cruelty can create empires while simultaneously shattering them in an instant. Attila is remembered as a ferocious beast ready to take lives, but also as a majestic leader who changed the course of history. The life of Tamerlane, a tale of ambition, conquest, and tragedy. The life of Tamerlane, or Timur, is an epic filled with ambition, conquests, and tragedies that left an indelible mark on the history of Central Asia and the Middle East. His journey from humble beginnings intertwined with suffering to greatness and power is rife with drama and contradictions. Birth and early years. Tamerlane was born in 1336 in a small village called Shahrasabz, near modern-day Samarkand, into a family of the Mongolic-speaking Barlas tribe. From an early age, his life was surrounded by war and instability, as conflicts among various local rulers erupted during that time. Despite the prosaic nature of his origins, young Timur already displayed extraordinary strategic abilities and a thirst for power. An unexpected tragedy struck him in his youth when he lost one of his legs in an accident, leaving him with a limp. However, this did not stop him. On the contrary, he emerged as a figure of remarkable willpower, striving to overcome any obstacles on his way to greatness. Rise to power. Tamerlane began his career as a tribal leader and, over time, gathered loyal followers, using tactics of cunning and manipulation. In 1370, seizing the opportunity amidst chaos following frequent civil wars, he captured the capital of his native region, Samarkand. This city would become the center of his future conquests and prosperity. Under his leadership, Tamerlane began ambitious military campaigns aimed at expanding his authority in Central Asia. He fought against powerful states and conquered territories, including Khwarezm, Persia, and parts of the Caucasus. His ability to wage war and his unwillingness to compromise made him one of the most dangerous conquerors of his time. The apex of power. At the height of his power, in the late 14th century, Tamerlane became the ruler of one of the largest empires of his era. He established extensive trade routes, leading to economic prosperity and cultural exchange. His capital, Samarkand, transformed into a cultural and architectural hub where Eastern and Western traditions merged. Repeatedly waging bloody campaigns, He spared no mercy for his enemies, leaving a trail of death and destruction in his wake. His conquests were ruthless. Cities that resisted him faced obliteration, and their populations were slaughtered or enslaved. He not only held vast territories but also garnered a plethora of tales about his insatiable thirst for power and revenge. A tragic end, however. Despite his grandeur, Tamerlane's brutality ultimately led him to his peak of downfall. In 1405, while preparing to launch an expedition into China, he encountered resource shortages and illness, which spared even him. During the journey to the city of Otrar, Tamerlane fell ill and, despite his efforts, died on February 19, 1405. Having created a magnificent legacy, he also left behind ashes of ruined cities, countless orphaned families, and many disgruntled peoples. His conquests forever changed the political map of the region, yet they also stirred a wave of vengeance and conflict that would haunt the history of Central Asia for many centuries to come. Legacy Tamerlane passed away without conquering China, but his name remained in the memories of peoples as a symbol of immense power and authority. His descendants continued his legacy, founding dynasties and waging wars. He has remained an embodiment of both cruelty and greatness, with an inscription on his grave in Samarkand stating, "When I was alive, the world trembled. Now that I am gone, only I know what it is worth." This dramatic life of Tamerlane is a story about how the craving for power and greatness can lead to both glory and suffering in equal measure, leaving behind a legacy of destruction and ambition that will be remembered for centuries.